Tonight on NewsWatch, why is the website so full of problems? A look at that and the host of other questions Congress is asking about healthcare.gov.
Plus, the persecutions of Christians in Syria. How many are getting by in the face of extremist attacks?
And see how wounded warriors are receiving help and healing in Alaska. All this and more tonight on NewsWatch. President Obama promised if you liked your health care plan, you could keep it. But millions of people are finding out that's not true. Good evening. I'm Mark Martin.
And I'm Lori Johnson. And with Obamacare websites still not working properly, the president's administration is giving people extra time to sign up for new insurance plans.
Meanwhile, today, Congress began grilling White House officials about the fiasco. Dale Hurd has more in tonight's top story.
A grace period for Americans to sign up for Obamacare. Monday, the White House granted a 6-week extension, pushing the deadline for uninsured Americans to sign up for coverage until March 31st. But lawmakers from both parties say that's not enough. Republicans and even some Democrats now are calling for a 1-year delay in penalties Americans will face if they remain uninsured. Today, the head of Medicare appeared before Congress to apologize.
We have said publicly that we will have the website in good working order by the end of November.
Now, you've had nearly 4 years to get it ready. Now you're saying in 4 weeks more, it'll be great. So what's different? Why should anyone believe these claims?
Democrats on the defensive said Obamacare must be fixed.
But what I want to see more from this committee is how can we improve and get quality health care for all Americans. This has to be a part of the goal that all of you have.
Meanwhile, a new report by NBC states the president knew ahead of time that millions of Americans would lose their current insurance coverage.
Obamacare train wreck continues. In 2009, President Obama promised that if you like your health care plan, you can keep it. It still promises that on the White House website and on the healthcare.gov website, if and when you can get on that website.
People across the nation are experiencing sticker shock as they receive cancellation letters from their insurers and see their monthly premiums rise up to 400%.
Estimates of how many people could lose insurance range from 7 to 16 million. Wednesday, the public face of Obamacare, Health and Human Services Director Kathleen Sebelius, will finally testify about the rollout debacle of the Affordable Care Act. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Spain is the latest country to begin looking into allegations of being the target of U.S. surveillance. The country's prosecutor's office says it's opening a preliminary investigation into reports the National Security Agency monitored more than 60 million phone calls in Spain in just 1 month. That investigation comes as a Capitol Hill hearing on NSA tactics kicked off today. The head of the agency was grilled by lawmakers looking for answers.
We do not spy on anyone except for valid foreign intelligence purposes, and we only work within the law.
Meanwhile, Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein is breaking rank and saying she will launch a congressional review of all the U.S. spy programs. Feinstein chairs the Senate Intelligence Committee, a committee typically known for standing side by side with President Obama and the NSA.
For more on this, we're joined now by John Whitehead. He's a constitutional attorney and author of the book, A Government of Wolves, The Emerging American Police State. John, some say the president knew about the spy all along. Some say he more recently learned of the NSA tactics. Either way, don't these revelations point to a deception from Washington?
Oh, yes, no doubt about that. The president is either not telling the truth or he's incompetent. And by the way, I don't think he's incompetent. In fact, our records show, our research shows that in January alone, 2013, the NSA downloaded 125 billion phone calls around the world of leaders, average citizens, 3 billion of those originating from the United States alone. So this has been going on since the 1970s. Every president we've had in office knows what's happening. What I argue in my new book, A Government of Wolves, is we moved into what I call an electronic concentration camp. Faxes, emails, text messages, anything you do is downloaded by the NSA. The president knows it. His advisors know it. So we live in a spy state. That's the sad fact of our lives as Americans and as citizens in a world.
Well, break it down a little bit more for us. How bad is this NSA scandal for the Obama administration and for the U.S. on the whole?
Bad enough for the Obama administration to do everything they can to get out of it, including what I call the Syria distraction, all the things. I mean, before the Syria stuff, the chemicals, all people were talking about was the NSA. So I think this has been a real embarrassment to Obama. It shows that he's no better than any other president we've ever had, from Nixon on. He's listening in on to our phone calls. I mean, everything that we're doing now, the NSA downloads. The president knows it. If he wants to debunk a president, the chancellor of Germany or Spain, they can do it. I mean, they have satellite systems all over the world, the NSA. Employees operating in New Zealand, Canada, Great Britain. So the president knows that. He's just trying to wiggle out of a very, very weird spot he's found himself in.
Well, John, will America be able to redeem itself among its allies?
I don't think so. I think everybody's going to be looking over their shoulders. I mean, especially the people in Germany, Spain, and France, which not only are they spying on those citizens in those countries, I mean, the leaders, they're spying on the citizens. I mean, 60 million phone calls in France alone have been downloaded recently by the NSA. So what the President of the United States has erected is a spy state worldwide, and he's not going to be able to get out of this if we stay awake. We're going to stay awake and alert and see what's happening. And I'm afraid we're moving into a totalitarian system. It's time to wake up. And that's what I'm screaming about to Americans in my book. Wake up, get educated, and start calling these people out, because what they're doing is illegal. It's against our Constitution and our freedoms.
Well, quickly, John, what would you like to see happen to protect our freedoms from government encroachment?
Well, what's happened is all this spying and surveillance, they're bypassing our Fourth Amendment, our Constitution. Our congressmen need to pass an electronic Bill of Rights. In fact, we have proposed that to a number of congressmen to protect us from this kind of stuff and to stop spying on our neighbors unless there's a clear, present danger or imminent threat.
Okay, John Whitehead, once again, the author of the book, A Government of Wolves, the Emerging American Police State. Thank you, John, for your time today.
Hey, thank you, sir.
Thousands of coal workers and officials rallied on Capitol Hill today. They were warning if the Obama administration and the EPA have their way, Americans will be paying much higher energy prices. And they say thousands of jobs across coal country will be killed. Paul Strand was there and brings us this report.
The Rally for American Jobs was meant to highlight what those targeted call a war on coal. Many in the crowd on Capitol Hill were the workers and families who will lose their jobs and paychecks if the Obama administration and EPA are left alone to regulate coal to death.
If they destroy coal, this country's destroyed. 40% of our electricity alone is generated by coal.
Roger Horton of Citizens for Coal says the EPA has now hit coal plants with regulations so tough, no industry could measure up.
There's no technology in the world that can meet these standards.
They've tightened down regulation after regulation down through the years and ended up with putting us out of business, pretty much.
These coal miners, workers, and officials rallied on Capitol Hill because only Congress or the courts can stop the EPA.
What we're trying to do are to reach the hearts and minds of the people who are in those halls in front of me here, to get them to understand that coal mining is much more than an energy source. It's people.
I was laid off from a coal mine, and then trying to find a job somewhere is almost non-existent. If you do find a job, it's low paying.
And it ripples out across a community.
There's 10 to 12 jobs for every coal miner out there.
Then there's the effect on personal lives when jobs get killed.
I have seen divorces. I have seen drug abuse. I have seen people have to lose their homes.
I got divorced. Things didn't go right, and it just caused a lot of family problems.
Lost their vehicles. They've had to leave, retool, reschool, go somewhere else, leave their homes where they've been all their life, and it's just not fair.
These pro-coal protesters blame not just the EPA, but a president whose environmental standards go way past what they believe is reasonable.
There was a lot of pollution, and we've cleaned up a lot of things, the creeks, the water and the air. So it's just what extreme you want to take that, and we can't afford the extremes that he's taken us to.
We don't want a handout. All we want to do is work. And they're not listening. They keep throwing everything in the world in our path.
Paul Strand, CBN News, Capitol Hill.
The legal battle over Bible banners at high school football games in Southeast Texas is heating up again. CBN News has been following this story since last fall. Cheerleaders at Kuntz High School displayed Bible verses on run-through banners for their football team. An atheist group filed a complaint saying biblical quotes should not be displayed at football games. A district judge had ruled in favor of the cheerleaders, but now the Kuntz School District has appealed the ruling, essentially claiming the cheerleaders are part of the government. Attorneys for the students have filed a brief defending the cheerleaders' free speech rights. They say, quote, no court has ever held that a student speaking on a message of his or her own choice is a government speaker.
Christians in Syria fear they're being targeted by Islamic rebel forces. The rebels are increasingly shelling Christian-majority towns as well as Christian districts in the capital, Damascus. At least 32 people have been killed and dozens injured in recent weeks in the Christian district of Al-Qasa. Leaders say they are struggling to survive.
Sometimes they don't have the strength to come to the services, but even when they hear bombs and shellings, as you see, there are many people in the churches because they see the only hope in the prayer.
At the start of the civil war, many Christians tried to stay neutral, but as rebel forces have become dominated by Muslim jihadis, Christians often have to side with the government. Coming up 1 year later, a look at the area hardest hit by Superstorm Sandy.
In 2008, my husband Gary departed for heaven. I was still grieving. And then to find out I had cancer, I began praying, God, how do I do this? Where do I do this? Cancer Treatment Centers of America was the place. Dr. Neelam outlined a plan that would take care of my mind and my body, and she prayed with me.
For Bible-believing Christians, we're able to pray with them in a much deeper way as they begin to really rely upon their faith.
At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, we believe in the power of faith and prayer as indispensable allies in the fight against complex and advanced stage cancer.
I'm back in Telluride on the mountain skiing. I feel strong and healthy.
Advanced medicine and technology.
And I am a survivor.
The warm embrace of the Spirit and the power of prayer.
These are happy tears.
Please go to cancercenter.com/faith. Appointments available now. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Today marks 1 year since Superstorm Sandy hit the Northeast, causing billions of dollars in damage. And while many businesses are on the path to recovery, thousands of people are still not home. Ephraim Graham reports.
There's been progress in some areas. Ellis Island reopened this week, and Manhattan South Street Seaport is open for business after the storm shut down 85% of the businesses. Small companies on Staten Island are hosting a block party to celebrate their recovery. But when it comes to the residential side of recovery, things are still looking grim.
I thought that by the summer, things would be moving.
Fill out paperwork, you submit this, submit that, and then by the, at the end they just tell you you don't qualify for whatever reasons.
We're using our savings and retirement.
That's because some homes are still uninhabitable. The storm caused $65 billion in property damage and forced some 40,000 people out of their homes. Billions of dollars in federal aid appropriated months ago by Congress have yet to reach homeowners who desperately need the money to move on.
It took 92 days for the Congress to get the aid to the Sandy victims. That's compared to 10 days for Katrina and 17 days for Gustav. So all that gets added on to the back end.
Many residents along the coasts of New York and New Jersey say they still have not figured out how to pay to reconstruct their houses to flood standards. Yet these communities are determined to recover. And for many, today was a day of healing and remembrance. Tonight, people along the Jersey Shore are shining flashlights to honor the date. And people on Staten Island will light candles in a Light the Shore vigil. Ephraim Graham, CBN News.
At least 15 people are dead following a brutal storm that swept across Britain and Western Europe Monday. It's called the St. Jude storm, and it's one of the worst to hit the region in years. The wind and rain snapped hundreds of trees and flooded streets. At least one girl died when a tree fell into her house. Others barely escaped similar incidents.
Came down the stairs and I fought my way out through the front door because the tree was blocking our entrance. I managed to get out, went to see my neighbours. At that point, I was told to get in the house pretty darn quick because the rest of the tree came down.
Wow, people in some areas saw wind gusts up to 120 miles per hour.
Up next, how one group is bringing military couples to Alaska to help heal relationships.
Hello? Is this thing on? Hey, kids, do you love games? And do you love discovering things? Well, do ya?
Then you're gonna love this. It's the new free Superbook Kids Bible app. You can play games, watch videos, find answers to your questions, and a whole lot more. The new Superbook Kids Bible app. Free downloads available on iTunes and Google Play now.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
American troops have been fighting almost nonstop for more than a decade. Casualties from these wars include both our service members and their families.
For tonight's Focus Report, I traveled to Alaska to look at a program bringing peace and healing to wounded warriors and their loved ones. Our journey begins in a plane, the main source of transportation to Port Allsworth, a remote Alaska village located about 150 miles southwest of Anchorage. Wounded warriors and their spouses follow this breathtaking path in their search for healing of their bodies, minds, and marriages. Landing on this dirt runway begins a week unlike any other.
Thank you very much.
As they exit, they receive a hero's welcome from Port Ellsworth residents and the staff and volunteers of Samaritan Lodge, Alaska.
They come off the plane crying because they did not get that type of welcome when they came home when they were wounded, because they just came home by themselves. There was no big parade or anything. And most of them will say, "I can't believe you did that for me." And it's just the most heartwarming thing. They just feel so loved.
The Cozy Retreat Center is an oasis for veterans and spouses parched by war. The humanitarian organization Samaritan's Purse runs the program, known as Operation Heal Our Patriots.
We want these couples to experience healing, God's healing in their lives. And I'm not talking about just the physical healing, that's important, but I'm talking about the spiritual and the emotional healing and also the healing of their marriages. So many of these couples, because of the experiences they've gone through, are finding themselves going different directions.
According to the Defense Department, divorce ended around 30,000 military marriages in 2011. Part of the healing process here means simply getting their minds off wounds and day-to-day stress by experiencing life, Alaska style. That includes bears, fly fishing, kayaking, and of course, R&R.
It's fun to see the excitement on their face when they walk in the cabin.
Sandy Lang and her husband Mark manage the Marriage Retreat Center.
It's a blessing to be here. First of all, to be part of an organization, a mission that tends to these couples, these wounded couples. And not only is the spouse wounded, but the person that served in the armed forces, but the other spouse is also wounded in so many ways.
Over a 3.5-month period, 150 couples from all over the country arrive here at Samaritan Lodge, Alaska. Some of the wounded warriors have injuries which are visible. Others have wounds which are not seen.
This is the latest and greatest military issue X3 made by Otto Bach out of Germany. This knee was developed for guys to return to active duty.
While serving in Afghanistan, an IED took off Billy Costello's right leg at the knee.
I remember the whole thing. I remember flying through the air, worrying about how I was going to land. I didn't want to land on my head, and realizing that my foot was gone, and knowing that when I hit the ground I needed to get to work to stop the bleeding.
Jennifer, when you look down there at the prosthetic leg, what goes through your mind?
He's a pretty amazing guy to overcome all that he's gone through. It seems natural now. It's just part of him.
Still, injuries like this and their new challenges take a toll on a marriage. After their time at Samaritan Lodge, Alaska, however, Billy and Jennifer renewed their vows, one of 3 couples to do so during our time here.
It was perfect for us. We really needed a time for us to reconnect and, away from everything, especially just unplugging from the rest of the world, just being able to focus on what we're doing, what's right here in front of us, and that's been extremely helpful for us.
It's important to recharge and every once in a while and take time for each other.
Hernando and Maricela Peña also feel recharged. Hernando suffered a brain injury in Iraq and battles post-traumatic stress disorder, the invisible wounds of war.
The marriage enrichment classes were just right on point, hitting the bigger elements of love and support.
I would say that all service members need to seek God, first and foremost, and address the issues that are going on.
15 days after Dan Stevens retired as a Navy chaplain, he took on the same role at Samaritan Lodge, Alaska. He's witnessed dozens of lives changed thanks to salvation through Jesus Christ.
My mission here is to help people come to know the Lord Jesus Christ. That's been my mission in the military, is to help people where they are.
I now baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
And so, broken men and women who have given so much arrive in Alaska not knowing what to expect and leave here transformed by the healing power of God.
What a great story. That is just so heartwarming. And, we need to do as much as we can for servicemen and women. They give so much and they have such a hard life.
And their spouses, too. I'll tell you what, God is doing amazing things at Samaritan Lodge, Alaska. It was such a privilege to be out there. He's changing lives.
Absolutely. Gorgeous. Well done.
Thank you. Well, up next, why heavy gunfire did not stop this Navy corpsman from putting his life on the line for his fellow man.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
One of the highest ways to honor bravery in combat is the awarding of the Bronze Star.
A Navy corpsman from Washington State received the prestigious award today for his heroic actions while serving in Afghanistan. Husband and father of two, Michael Marchant risked his own life to rescue a soldier from the Republic of Georgia. The soldier had stepped on an IED and was left out in the open, vulnerable to the enemy. Michael used his own body to shield the man from bullets landing only inches away.
I was just doing my job, and I know that any other corpsman out there would have done the same thing that I did. When something like that happens, you just fall back to your training and do what you were taught to do.
Wow, courage in action. This was not an isolated incident. The Navy reports Michael was also directly responsible for saving the lives of 14 other Georgian soldiers. Not even U.S. soldiers, but soldiers from another country, and puts his life on the line.
He's such a hero, and he's humble on top of that.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Example to us all.
Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of NewsWatch.
Remember, you can email us your comments and questions at newswatch@cbn.com. Love to hear from you. Hope you'll join us next time.